Hello and welcome to this video tutorial where we are going to be looking at Java. So let's get started. This is going to be a fair few videos, so sit back and hopefully you'll learn something. We're going to go from the beginning of Java right up to the advanced and you could say expert techniques. So we're going to be jumping into stuff like abstraction, inheritance, polymorphism, encapsulation, all that good stuff. Some of my favourite programming techniques right there, and we're going to be jumping into that in later videos. But for now, let's look into Java. So what is Java? Well, basically Java is a programming language, which was created by Sun Microsystems in 1991. I think the first version was released around, I think it was 1995, and I think in 2010 Oracle actually acquired Sun Microsystems. So let's have a look. Brief history. So as mentioned, Java was actually created by Sun Microsystems and purchased by Oracle. Java was designed with the vision of write once and run everywhere. But what does that mean? Well, that basically means if we create a program, say in C# or certain other languages, we can be limited to one system. We could be locked into an operating system such as Windows, whereas with Java we can write it once on say Mac, Linux, Windows, and then we can use any of those systems and run Java, which is really neat. That's one of the best aspects of Java. What allows us to do this is the Java Virtual Machine, which many people just abbreviate to the JVM, which is basically just a middleman in this concept, which allows us to be implemented on top of real hardware and software to run on any machine. So when we run our program, it runs a JVM for that particular machine. Hopefully it's not too confusing. I'm going to get into it a bit more and I'll show you a few diagrams as to how it works. So unlike many other programming languages such as C and C++, when Java's compiled, it's not compiled into specific machine code, rather it is compiled, transformed, whatever you want to call it, into machine independent bytecode. And bytecode is incredibly important when it comes to Java. If you didn't already know, Java is object oriented, which is very good, but some people do say it limits just the most basic of applications. So if you want to create a basic application in Java, you probably would have to jump into OO, which is object-oriented programming. I like object-oriented programming. I think it's really neat as opposed to just running like, without objects and classes, and I find it's a lot more modular. So yeah, Java, as mentioned, object-oriented. So we basically have a collection of objects which represents a class. If you think of it as a blueprint as the class, and then for the object we could use that particular blueprint to create a house, basically, which is cool. Other concepts, these four concepts are key: abstraction, encapsulation, inheritance, polymorphism. More on this later. Java is distributed, multi-threaded, secure, and uses automatic garbage collector. So the garbage collector will clear our objects once it's finished running. Let's go back. So these are the versions of Java that we're currently working with. I believe 1.7 right now is known as Java 7, and we're going to be passing that in the future. So it really depends when you're watching this video what version we're on, but nevertheless, Java 1.02 had around 250 classes, so it was known to be slow. Although it was fun to use, something new in the programming circle that we're all in. 1.1, 500 classes, a little faster, much more friendlier. Starting to become very popular. We've got better GUI code. We've got things like Swing and all that good stuff coming in here. And what I'm loving right now in Java is Java FX. So we may look at that later. Java 2, 2,300 classes, much faster, known to run at native speeds, which is good. Many people did criticize the JVM because it didn't run at native speeds, because it was using bytecode to, run on each particular platform. Enterprises start picking up Java more, and you'll see in many big businesses Java is heavily used. The Fortune 100, the Fortune 500 companies many of them run Java, especially in the banking industry. A lot of people love Java. So if you know Java really well, you can be looking to get paid very well. So Java 5, 3,500 classes, a lot more powerful, a lot more power within the system, easier to adapt and easier to develop with. So the JVM, we mentioned this earlier. What is a JVM? Well, JVM is basically just a software implementation of a computer that executes programs like a real machine. So it's very abstract. It's a very abstract computing machine, sort of sitting on top of the operating system and the hardware, which we'll look at in a second. So the JVM is written for that particular machine. It's written on, so if we're on OS X, it will run for OS X. If it were on Linux, it'll run on Linux. If we're on Windows, it'll run on Windows. So we've got 3 implementations: specification, implementation, and instance. Java programs are compiled by the Java compiler into bytecode. The virtual machine then interprets this bytecode and executes a Java program. So let's look at a nice diagram to show you what's really going on. So at the bottom here we have our hardware system. So like I said, it could be PC, Mac, whatever you want to call it. PC basically for me means personal computer, so it could be a Mac or a Windows machine. It really depends how you interpret PC. But then we have the operating system on top of the hardware, and then the JVM, and then you can see we have our programs. So it's a pretty neat diagram. We've got the programs on the top, then the JVM, then the operating system, and then the hardware. A few things to go over. How to install Java. Make sure you have the latest version of the JDK. You can check your version using Java-version in terminal if you're running a Unix-based system. And I believe you can set something like that up in Windows as well. Recommended IDEs, NetBeans, Eclipse. I'll most likely be using NetBeans in this tutorial series. Java is case sensitive, so many variables like my target with the uppercase T and my target with the lowercase t are treated as different variables. It's strongly typed. That basically means we will have to declare the type of variables that we would be setting, as opposed to a typeless language like PHP, where we can just put a variable together using the well, is it the, I think it's the S notation, or whatever people want to call it, the $ S notation. You can just use that particular notation, call the variable, and you're off. The scripting language knows what particular variable that is. We have a garbage collector, so we get automatic memory management. Java manages the memory allocation and deallocation for creating new objects, which is really neat. The program does not have access to direct memory, although I do know a trick around this, so we can look at that in a future video actually, where we can actually mess around with pointers. So yeah, we can mess around with pointers, even though technically we don't have direct access, but there is a way to do it. The so-called garbage collector automatically deletes objects to which no active pointers exist. So yeah, that's a quick introduction to Java. Hopefully that was helpful. If you liked this video, remember to subscribe, and yeah, feel free to drop a comment or tweet me on Twitter at CalHadwin, and let me know what videos you want to see. Hopefully there's some specifics in there so I can get those videos out to you guys and girls. But yeah, hopefully this was helpful. Thanks for taking the time to watch this video, and I shall see you in the next one. And hopefully everyone enjoys this series. Goodbye.